Welcome in. It is day 102, and you're speaking with the Meeple's champion. And today, on October 20th, we are going to be speaking about another creepy game for the month of October. We are talking today about Crypt. Now, Crypt is a simple game. The idea of the game is that you can play anywhere from 1 to 4. I personally think this game plays best at the higher player counts, as I do with most games, although I will say this game perfectly plays at 2. I'm not a big fan of playing this one at solo. I think that it's just too simple of a game. But the idea is that you're going to get a character, and the character comes with 3 dice. You're going to have 6 cards in the middle, and each of these are specialized cards that represent, depending on the type of card that you win and the symbol that it has, you get payouts from these as you achieve the symbol requirements. And then you have a deck of cards, which are your treasures. Depending on player count, so if you're playing a 4-player game, you will shuffle up the deck. You will deal 4 cards face up, 2 cards face down. No matter whether it's face up or face down, you can always see what the actual symbol of the card is. But the face up cards, you'll know what that value is that the card itself is worth in points. Now, starting at the first player, you're going to take all of your dice and place them out. Now, the first and last player are set up based on a lights on and lights off card. It's just meant to go around for the board for once. But the idea being here is, first player goes and they say, okay, I really want to have cards A, B, and C, and they put it out as 1, 1, and 1. Now, in this game, once you've gone, you're done. Now the next player goes. And if they want to put out, they can either place the card out and their die out and say, okay, I'm going for another one that's not taken yet, and I'm going to place it out as a 1. Or I want to take one that you have, and I'm going to beat it by placing it out as a 2 or a 3, anything higher than your value. However, if you want, you can also place multiple dice. The rule is every die you place together has to be the same value. So if I decide I want to place 2 die over here as 1s, now the next person says, I want to take that from you. They have to beat those 1s with 2 2s, at least. Once you've finished, each player 1 by 1 going, and you get to the last player, you're done with the round, and every card that you have dice on, you're going to get. If somebody booted your die, it's come back to your area, it's fine, it's part of your group now, and you're going to move forward. However, now is where it gets interesting, because at this point, you're going to start rolling your dice. Any 1s come back, you get to keep them. But anything 2 or higher, you have to roll it. And if it ends up coming through as a lower number than the number it was, you have lost the die. It leaves. So now, going into the next round, when you have 6 new cards come out, you're only going to have 2 dice to place. So it starts getting tough because the players might say, okay, I see some really good combos I can go for, and I'm going to place higher ranking dice because I want these combos. But now I'm running into a situation where there's a chance I'm going to lose my dice. And it might be worth it because you're on the 3rd or 4th round and you go, okay, I'm going to do a 6 here and a 6 there because these 2 will definitely give me what I need for huge point payout. And you could still get lucky and roll a 6, but the odds are you're losing those dice. Once you've finished and all the treasure deck has exhausted and you've now gotten to the end of the game, what you do is you're going to first add all the cards you've gathered up for their values and see what is it that when basically digging through these crypts, what did you find for these treasures? Then you're going to look at all of your different symbols for each of these cards and see in the middle of the 6 cards that are available for your different types of benefits, which ones gave you an additional point value benefit and how much are those points worth. And then finally, you're going to add an additional 1 point for every die that you did not exhaust that's still available to you. If at that point there are any ties for first place, all of the dice that you have still unexhausted, you will roll and see who gets the higher roll and they win. So you might get to the end of the game and you outplayed me when it came to getting the cards, but I outplayed you when it came to keeping my dice. And that 2 points of difference is, well, I have 3 dice, you have 1. Well, now we're rolling. And yes, you could get lucky and beat me, but the odds are I'm at least getting a 3. It's 1, 1, and 1. and you at most can get a 6. So I'm probably winning. And in the case of a tie, you just keep re-rolling until eventually somebody has a higher value, and that person's the winner. It's simple, easy to play, definitely a game that this time of year is a fun one to play with the kids. Why don't we jump in, talk about our 7 categories, and see where this game really lands for everybody. Category 1, the art. Now, the game is called Crypt. If you can't tell, it's meant to kind of look like you're in a coffin here. You know, you've got your little, what's supposed to look like a dead knight on the front. You know, you're just going through and you're supposed to be grave diggers that are stealing from crypts. And this was a Kickstarter that I was looking for a themed game for Halloween, and I thought that the front of this box really sold it for me on Kickstarter. And I think even in a store today, this is the kind of art that would sell me for this because it's small, it's to the point, it's simple. And simple is not a bad thing. The inside of the game, the art's a little goofy, but it's nice. I think that this is perfectly fine. You really have to try for me to fail at art. I think art usually sells itself pretty well, and the box art is really where it matters. If this was a bigger game, I would not like this as a box art because it'd be a bigger box, and I think that would be dumb. But it's a small little game, and it's literally designed to look like a crypt, and it works for me great. It's a thumbs up. Components are, you only have 2 types of components. You have your cards, you have your dice. The dice aren't falling apart. I have seen bad dice before. These are fine dice. And the cards are nice. They're not going to wear, they're not going to tear. They put some money into the cards. Thumbs up there. The price is, when I got this, I want to say I spent right around $10 to $15. Now, I have seen this in stores. This was not a giant success, but this was enough of a success. I'm never going to see it in Target. Maybe you'll see it in a Barnes & Noble, but I don't recall seeing it there. But you probably will see it in 1 or 2 stores out of every 5 when it comes to having small sections. Especially around this time of year, they'll probably put a few of these in to sell for October. So it's out there, it's cheap. I'm pretty sure you can still get it online, although I will say I'm not 100% on that. But it's definitely a game I've seen, and I think that for its price, it's worth it. Thumbs up. The difficulty, this game isn't difficult. It's easy to learn, but it is hard to master that mitigation of luck. You can easily be getting cards. You could easily be taking 3 cards per round if you're not rolling out your dice. So it's that setup of knowing, okay, what am I trying to do? Is it worth it for me to just on my first turn say, I'm going to put 3 ones all on 1 card and essentially guarantee that I'm going to get that card? If I can do that, that's great. But it means other people have a chance later in the round to grab multiple cards with just a couple dice. Know where you are in the round, know how everybody else is playing, what they're targeting. You might be able to go 1, 2, and 3 because you know this guy wants this one really bad, and this guy's after these 2, and this guy's also after one of these, and that one over there, and these 3 are really untouched, so I can just grab easy points. And as long as they're paying attention, you're going to be good. So I think difficulty works out well because everybody can really compete, and it doesn't kick anybody out. And kids can play this as well. This isn't too complicated. It's a thumbs up. The replayability on this is that this is a game you're going to play multiple times in a row. And it's probably going to be one of those games that you pull out for October, but really, it's a game you can play year-round. I've played this outside of the October month. I don't feel this has to be an October month. I just think if you're having a bunch of people over or a few people over and you're looking for short, easy games, this is one of the pile I pull out and I say, hey, here's 4 or 5 little games. We can all play some games together, or we can break into little groups of 3 or 4 and at a party have a bunch of people playing different little games through the night. So I think replayability is there, especially in October, but this one can be played outside of that. It's an easy enough and a fast enough game. Thumbs up. Your keys to victory. Your keys to victory are most points. Your most points are based on the cards you get, the cards in the middle, and your dice. So there's multiple ways to go. The dice tend to be one that's important because it's a tiebreaker, Whereas the center cards and the outside cards are just, what are you really aiming for? You might be willing to take a hit on the outside cards so long as you're getting 2 or 3 of the center cards. Whereas you might be willing to take a hit on the center cards if you're getting at least 2 cards around and really competing on the outside cards. There are keys to victory. They're there to be won with. I think it's a thumbs up. Unique in this game is, I do think this game's unique. I don't know of another game that does this setup specifically with the way where the dice are being used almost like a worker placement, but you get to pick the value of the die and you're competing because you're booting people out. And unlike in other games where usually if you get booted out, you can go back in, this game doesn't let you do that. If you get booted out, the good thing is your guy is safe. He's going into the next round. But the bad thing is he's done for the round. You went, you took your turn, you took your shot. Essentially, it's a first come, first serve, but the later people have the ability to almost have knowledge. So like, hey, I got in there and I found something and I'm digging for it. I just didn't know there was another guy looking over my shoulder. And because of that, he can come in with a stronger, attack, essentially, to knock me out and get me out of there. So I like that. And I think this game does hit the unique factors I'm looking for. So it's a thumbs up. Overall, what do I think of this game? It's simple. It's fun. I think you can play that at all ages. I think that experts and experienced players are going to enjoy this with their families and friends on a simple night. This one with yesterday's like Ghost and stuff like that. These are the kind of games that can just be grouped together and make a great Halloween themed night of games. So I think it's one that if you do see it, pick it up. You don't need to play it first. It's not enough money that if you don't love it, it's going to make you annoyed. And it will just end up being turned into a fun gift for, a nephew or a cousin or somebody's kid, because you'll go, oh, this is a fun one for you guys to try. I didn't like it. Maybe you will. But that's just my opinion. It's up to you guys to get out there, get into your crypts, see if you like them, and see if this hits for you for the Halloween theme. Well, it has been day 102, and we have been talking about the game Crypt, and you've been speaking to the Meeple's champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be putting in an Amazon link in case you want to pick this game up for yourself. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.